Welcome back to the Unforced Error. We're here to recap round four and look ahead to the quarterfinals of the Australian Open. Like usual, we'll do a quick recap of the round that's passed and a quick look to the round coming next. We'll start off with the women, and we'll start off with what happened 2 days ago now. Coco Gauff beat Fresh, Sabalenka beat Anisimova, and both pretty straightforward games for the two high seeds left in the draw. Thought Anisimova might have given Sabalenka a bit more of a game than she did, but still finding her way back after timeout, and she's done pretty well to get there. But their games matched up pretty well, and it just shows, I think, how much Sabalenka has come along in the last 18 months, where Anisimova has gotten the better of her in the past. Barbara Krejcikova beat Mira Andreeva, the teenager. Andreeva took a set off her, but Krejcikova ultimately prevailed. Krejcikova seems to be gaining her form back again. She was kind of 2022 was a great year for her, and when people were talking about the top three last year, she was kind of wanting to be in the conversation as a top four, and she kind of fell off kind of from March onwards of last year. She didn't really feature as much as she would have liked, but a great player and finding her form and in rhythm again. So be interesting to see what she does. Kostyuk beat Timofeeva. Kostyuk, young Ukrainian player, playing very aggressively at the minute, had the patience to kind of wait out and make Timofeeva make some mistakes, but great movement around the court, reading the game very well, and had great patience and is happy to stick around until you make a mistake. On that side of the draw, then Gauff will face up against Kostyuk, which will be a battle of the youngsters, but two very experienced youngsters. And Aryna Sabalenka plays Barbara Krejcikova, and they've played each other many times before, and it is a tough matchup, and Krejcikova is playing well, so that will be a tough test for Sabalenka, no doubt. Move on to the other side of the draw then. Jasna Strejka beat Azarenka. Strejka. And this is probably the shock. I thought Azarenka would be kind of rubbing her hands together when the draw opened up, but that's the way this tournament has gone. That's why lots of Grand Slams go. There's lots of shocks. Jasna Strejka has a great style of play, takes the ball high and early, and sometimes kind of bats down on the ball, and it comes across very aggressive, reads the game well, great movement, great timing, always seems to have time on the ball. But I think it's taken it high that she likes. Zheng then beat Dodan. Zheng is the highest seeded player on that side of the draw. She was 12th in the world. Talking about now, being asked in the press conference that obviously, she would have been the underdog in many games before, and now people are looking at her at that side of the draw. That's just the way it happened. And she's saying she's trying not to think too much about it. She's gotten great advice from past champions. But for all the qualifiers who've made it through, the youngsters and the less experienced who've blown away the high seeds, a lot of them probably, to their strength, have been just playing what's in front of them and, focusing on the process without having the pressure on them and having to think too much. Now that gets a bit more difficult, obviously, in the second week, and there's more attention on them. They're being asked more questions in press conferences and so on and so forth. So Zheng will really relish this opportunity, I think. Now that the draw is opened up for a great player, has played the best for many years now, but could really storm into the final here if she plays her cards right. Noskova beat Svitolina. Unfortunately for Svitolina, she had an injury, had to pull it out. And Kalinskaya beat Paulini. And Kalinskaya, another great player that we probably haven't talked enough about before. Doesn't seem phased kind of by the moment, very kind of matter of fact about the situation that she's in, and great placement of the ball. She constructs the points very well, uses the lines, and really kind of thinks through and constructs points as she goes along. So another great player to watch. So from that, Noskova plays Jasna Strejka and Zheng plays Kalinskaya. So two great interesting games there. If you were told that would be the quarterfinal matchup from the top half of the women's draw, you would have got a lot of money for predicting that at the start. Over to the men's side then, and Novak beat Manarino easy enough. Rublev beat de Minaur in a great game. It was not easy at all. Rublev always finds himself in these kind of long games, and he's well able for them. And de Minaur, with the home crowd, was playing really well and had a lot of kind of momentum behind him. But Rublev's, I think his father is a boxer. He's well used to kind of those hostile environments, a fighter till the end, and a very physical game, and really, really great watch in the night session for Melbourne. Sinner beat Kachanov. Sinner's going well, bubbling away quietly as he often does. And Taylor Fritz bet Tsitsipas in a great kind of long game. Fritz got the better of him this time. Both were kind of true to form. Fritz talked about in the press conference that Tsitsipas' game kind of suits his game and that matchup. So he was feeling confident. And he said, the last few games he knew what he was going to do before he was going to do it, and things were making sense. And he said he hasn't felt like that in a long time. He plays Djokovic now. I don't know. I thought he could give him a game in the US, and he didn't. But he could have got more on his day. He's playing with a lot of confidence. He's got nothing to lose. I was thinking work today, about the chances that Fritz beat Djokovic, and they are low. But I think if Fritz had one of the best performances of his career and Djokovic was significantly off, Fritz could do it. But that's an if. But I'm just interested to see, tactically what he does. Does he try and change things from the past? Can he bring that momentum and the way he's thinking about things in through the latter half of that game against Tsitsipas into against Djokovic? Easier said than done, but be interesting to see nonetheless. Tough day for Tsitsipas. He said it's basically back to the drawing board, but he had a great perspective in the press conference, as he always seems to does, the Greek philosopher's perspective, if you will, talking about how in tennis, in sport, and there's more moments of pain and struggle and disappointments, and the moments of glory and champagne bottles are fleeting, and that there's more of the former. And just interesting to hear. And he looked a bit downtrodden, but can he change things again? Can he keep going? Can he keep fighting for a Grand Slam that we all thought he once had? Would be interesting to see. So, and the other side is Sinner will play Rublev then, and that will be a great battle, I'm sure, as well. Medvedev beat the Portuguese Borgs. Borgs took one set off him, but ultimately Medvedev prevailed. Medvedev's going really well now after a few tough long games at the start. He's really found his rhythm now. Had a great on-court interview afterwards where he explained why he steps so far back off the baseline when he's returning his serve. So a really great watch. Alcaraz had a relatively easy one against Kecmanovic. Zverev beat Norrie in a long game. Norrie has had a great tournament, beat Casper Ruud. Zverev is playing very well again, and ultimately just got the better of him in the end. And Hubert Hurkacz beat Kazoo, who's had a great tournament, a kind of breakout star there for French tennis. So Alcaraz will play Zverev. They've faced many times before. Zverev's playing a lot better than he has done in certain parts of last year anyway. So that could be a great game. And Medvedev beats Hurkacz, two of the big hitters, and be interesting again. Another kind of tactical game. Hurkacz's serve is amazing, so no doubt Medvedev will be standing far back off the baseline. So we've got a couple of great quarterfinals there. The pick for me is Novak and Fritz. I'm just really interested, and Sinner Rublev will be great as well. And I mean, on the women's side, it's a lot of unknown, so that makes it very interesting as well. So we'll turn our attention to the quarterfinals, and after we catch our breath, and on we go. Thanks again.